I think there's this false idea that people only stay around others who have money. If you have a positive aura, if you have good energy, if you're very optimistic and loving and caring, there are some people who seek that, who need that in their lives because they're the exact opposite. They're always going through something, they're toxic. And that doesn't mean that they like you. That doesn't mean that they want to put in the work to actually keep you in their lives. It's just if you make yourself accessible, how do you say that word? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am so thankful y'all are here. I pray you can find home here, and if so, welcome. In this video, I want to talk to y'all about the top 5 social mistakes that I've made in my life. I've always been very sheltered. I grew up in a religious household. Socializing didn't really come natural to me, and a lot of the people that I was surrounded with were people that I grew up with, kind of had to be around in a way. And it took me a while to really venture outside of my comfort zone to build a life that felt more authentic to me. Number 1, giving too much energy way too soon in relationships. And this is not just romantic, this was platonic too. I would go into, how can I explain this? I would go into a lot of situations with all this hope and all this imagination for like what things could be, like, oh, we're gonna be best friends, or oh, we're gonna be soulmates, or we're gonna get married. I would give so much hope and potential to any new person in my life because I had this belief that everybody that comes into my life has to be significant, has to be meaningful. And this isn't a bad thing, especially when it comes to the people that are meant to be in our lives. Like, you want to have meaningful connections, you want to have great memories and have great people around you. But when you immediately assume that everybody is in your life for a reason, you don't give it time or space to pan out how it's meant to. Some people aren't meant to be in our lives for a long time. Some people aren't meant to be our friends or husbands or wives. Some people are just meant to be passerbys, or you hang out with them on that one weekend and that's it. And that's perfectly okay. I think we have to find safety in temporary just as well as meaningful relationships. Number 2, unhealed emotional dependency. Before I knew how to regulate my emotions, I depended on other people to show me how I should feel. If somebody was upset about something, I felt like I had to be upset too. I had to show that I understood by not only empathizing, but also being upset, and also, I guess, kind of like being unable to really hold my ground, especially if I wanted to belong, especially if I wanted to be a part of. And that was even in family systems, not even in just friends and relationships, but also in my family. I also had a lot of like anxious assumptions about situations. So if somebody was upset, it's like all this energy of like, oh my God, are they upset at me? Did I do something? Did I say something? And the whole time it's about something completely different. So I think especially with anxious attachment, you have to take the surface level stuff for what it is. If somebody is upset and they're not telling you anything, they're not pointing out anything specific, don't immediately assume it's about you. Don't immediately take on other people's emotions thinking that you're helping, because you trying to relate or you trying to get ahead of this curve by assuming things is just hurting you and the relationship that could be. So stand your ground, watch videos on emotional regulation, watch videos on anxious attachment, and that will really, really help you. Number 3, taking things way too personal. Y'all, this is something that I recently grew out of. Like, me and my sisters always got on each other by joking, by like pointing out something that we knew would hurt each other's feelings. And as sisters, that's cool, that's fine and dandy. But when it came to other people outside of my house doing that, it was like I took a lot of offense to it because that's what we were doing in the house. It took me a while to really be able to like joke and banter with people, and for people to say something that genuinely does kind of hurt my feelings, but I still stay light and still stay in a space where it's like, no matter what they say, no matter what their opinions are, it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna point out something on them, you know? To be able to take jokes or even take offenses with a certain light heart is everything, y'all. You don't immediately have to become offensive, defensive, and triggered just because somebody else has their own opinion. Now, I know easier said than done. When you're triggered and you feel like somebody is attacking you, it's not easy, okay? But at the end of the day, when you work on your confidence, when you work on your self-esteem, and somebody tries to point out something or belittle you in a social situation, you can kind of let it roll off your back, because it's like, okay, and I know you are, but what am I type deal, you know? So I think that's a huge part of socializing, is being able to banter with people, being able to take jokes. Now, I'm not saying you should just take any joke if it's just plain old rude. You know what I'm saying? Don't take anything. But if somebody has a joke about what you're wearing or how you look or the shoes you got on or something like that, like, it's good to be able to banter, to be able to stay lighthearted and observe things on them to find a comeback. Like, it's okay to take offense and still be able to socialize and keep it, again, on a very light note, okay? But this is definitely one that's easier to master once you're confident in yourself. If you're still in a space where you feel like, you know, other people are gonna laugh at me, or you feel easily humiliated or embarrassed, you have to work on not caring about what people think so much, not taking yourself so serious, and seeing that other people's opinions have no value over yours. Your opinion is pretty much the only one that matters in your world, in your mind, in your body, in your soul. So like, in social situations, you have to remember that. The number 4 mistake that I've made in socializing and dating is not being myself out of fear that I would not be accepted. Y'all, I lived so long not being myself because, again, I thought that my worth came from people accepting me. I thought that my worth came from everybody liking me, everybody being able to say that, oh, like, Michaela, she's this or she's that, and not truly being who I am at my core. I'm very goofy, I'm very quiet sometimes, I'm very introspective, I can get very deep, like, that's just me. And for a while, I felt like if I don't have anything to add to a social situation, then I'm not living up to their expectations of me. I'm not living up to the person that I want them to see me as. And the truth is, this is a really, how do I want to say it? To have a false image of yourself that you think you need to be, that isn't who you truly are at your core, is so draining. It's unrealistic, and it's a miserable space to be in, because no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you'll always feel like, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Why? After every interaction, you'll judge yourself because you have this made up, even unknown expectation of what you should have said, how you should have operated. The more relaxed you become in the moment, the less you feel like, dang, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have said this. No matter what you say, it's what you should have said. No matter how you operate, whether the date went really good, really bad, whether you hanging out with friends was really fun or really boring, it's not up to you to change the energy, to make things work, to make things fun, to make things go good. Your only responsibility is to be yourself, enjoy yourself, be honest, and observe if you want to hang out with people again. Observe if that's a good friend for you, or if that's a good partner for you. If we spend so much time and energy on what we're doing, what we said, how we move, and all this type of stuff, we really take away the enjoyment of being able to get to know other people, of being able to enjoy ourselves in the moment, because you're so focused on me. What did I do? What did I say? Was that right? Was that wrong? Like, that's really, really draining. The fifth mistake that I've made in socializing is trying to be accepted by the wrong people. Y'all, in life, we're going to meet people with all types of feelings towards us. We're going to meet people with all types of interests, some that align with us, some that don't. Every relationship, everybody you meet is not going to be your best friend. It's not going to be your man. When it comes to living a fulfilling or successful life, you want to have more quality around you than quantity anyways. So a mistake I was making was valuing quantity over quality. I just want to be accepted by as many people. I don't want anybody to say that they don't like me or whatever. And so because of that, I found myself trying to be accepted by people that literally had no similar interests to me, had no similar goals and visions, because again, I valued being accepted over if this relationship truly benefits me, if it's truly meaningful. And this happens when you have low self-esteem, when you don't accept yourself, so you try to validate yourself by being accepted externally. If you don't ground your own confidence, if you don't find who you are and then build a life from there, you'll end up using the external to fill certain voids. It's so important that you do the inner work on yourself. It's not easy to admit when we don't really love ourselves. It's not easy to admit when we're in a space where we're trying to be accepted by people because we don't feel good being alone or not being accepted. So like, have compassion for yourself. I think a lot of people have been there. I myself have been there, but it is possible to come out on the other side. So I'm gonna actually add a bonus one. This last one is more so a result of the mistakes I've made in socializing and dating, more so than another mistake. But number 6 is, because I made all these mistakes, because I didn't truly love and present my authentic self, it led me into a lot of spaces where I was associating with people who genuinely did not like me, y'all. It was just, we didn't align. We didn't have the same visions, the same mindsets or goals. So I think naturally, when you try to force relationships, or when two people stay in a situation, friendship, family, or relationship, where y'all don't think the same, y'all don't have the same beliefs, the same goals or anything, I don't know, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place in a way. And I realized that I was surrounded by people who were kind of feeding off of my energy, or in a way using me for what they wanted. I wasn't getting what I wanted out of the friendship or out of the relationship, but because I didn't have my boundaries, because I didn't know who I was at my core, I kind of just put up with it. And some of these people genuinely didn't like me. They didn't want me in their life as something or someone significant, but because I do possess certain qualities, or I am very loving and forgiving, and I do believe I have a very positive energy, some people will stay around just because of that. I think there's this false idea that people only stay around others who have money or who can get them business deals. But the truth is, if you have a positive aura, if you have good energy, if you're very optimistic and loving and caring, there are some people who seek that, who need that in their lives, because they're the exact opposite. They're always going through something. They're toxic. And that doesn't mean that they like you. That doesn't mean that they want to put in the work to actually keep you in their lives. It's just, if you make yourself accessible, how do you say that word? If you make yourself accessible to people who can use your energy, trust and believe they will. I mean, most human beings, especially toxic people, are going to be opportunists, are going to use whoever they can to get in a happy mood or to feel better about themselves if you're a people pleaser. So me being very like socially naive, or just not standing on my boundaries and really being assertive, even in friendships, caused me to have a lot of different relationships that weren't meaningful to me or the other person. You want to make sure that you are protecting yourself. You want to make sure that you're not keeping people around for the simple fact of not being lonely, or just to be able to say you have friends or a man or a woman or whoever. So it's all about the intention. Do you want quality? Do you want quantity? Do you care about being accepted? Do you care about meaning in relationships? Like, what is your intention? That's the biggest question overall. That's really all I wanted to say. I hope y'all got something valuable out of this video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.